Hey, sixth graders, I'm going to do your cold read for you. It's out of your personal narrative, pre-write, and draft packet. And I'm going to do a cold read on the article, Creating Emotion in the Reader. And actually, this is from a blog. So the author wrote this as part of a blog for her readers to read and to get ideas on how to be a better writer. So I'm going to do the cold read. During a cold read, your job is to listen. You're not writing. You're just listening. So your job is to listen and follow along. Your hands are completely empty. Listen and follow along. I'm going to start. The page looks like this. Notice the paragraph number is written on the side for you. Creating emotion in the reader. I wrote an article on the importance of creating emotions in readers, but I've noticed that writers are looking for specifics on how to accomplish that. So, this article complements that first one, presents practical tips on how to stir the reader's emotions. Readers like to be touched, moved by story. They like to imagine themselves in worlds and situations that challenge them, that give them opportunity to do and be something other than what they are in their real lives. Fiction, whether in books or film or games, allows people to not only step into other worlds, but to experience those worlds, to do what they can't in the course of a normal day, to feel beyond their normal feelings. Since readers want to immerse themselves in other worlds and other lives, what can writers do to make that experience authentic, to make the fictional world real for a few hours? One technique the writer can make use of to create reality out of fiction is to induce emotion in readers, make them feel something of what the characters are experiencing. Writer and reader know the fictional events aren't real, but the emotion can be. Readers can fear and feel joy, and be excited and know grief. They can laugh and cry, shiver and rage, all from reading a story. But how can a writer accomplish this? How does a writer make readers feel emotion? Writers in scenes, showing rather than telling. So that's our step one. Write in scenes, showing rather than telling. That is, don't report that a character is afraid or giddy or grieving. Show the results of character emotions through the character's actions. Show what fear or giddiness or grief does to him. Character action and response is a good place to focus. This is a major key for activating reader emotions. No one gets emotional over a report. They do get emotional when they can step into someone's shoes and experience his or her feelings, as if those feelings weren't churning inside them. Dolores was afraid to open the door to the basement steps. She stood at the far side of the kitchen, debating what to do. Versus, Dolores' hand trembled as she reached for the locked doorknob. Tom had warned her not to open the basement door when he wasn't around, but he was due home soon. So what could happen? She bit her lip and tightened her fingers around the cold knob. A shiver shook her. She inhaled only a shallow breath and then struggled for another, and nearly shot through the ceiling when the microwave dinged, letting her know her tea was hot. Notice the difference? Don't hold back. If you want to reach the reader's emotions, you need to write emotion-evoking scenes. A serious injury, the loss of a loved one, or a scary and emotional situation can touch the reader if the reader has enough investment in the character. Tease the reader with hints of what's to come. You see this in romantic comedies. The backward and forward dance between a couple just falling in love, the tease, the delay, the anticipation makes the payoff dramatic and satisfying. In mysteries and suspense, anticipation increases tension and therefore increases the emotional impact. Fear drawn out to just the right degree gives a satisfying snap when all breaks loose. Surprise the reader by turning the story in an unexpected direction. Keep the reader off balance, unsuspecting, so he can be blindsided and thus feel more unsettling emotions. 14. Adjust the pace for the emotion you want to create. Use short sentences and paragraphs to speed the pace, to encourage suspense and fear. Readers read faster and feel the story is moving at a faster pace when there's more white space on a page. Use longer phrases and paragraphs to slow the momentum, to ease off the forward rush, to create a sense of relaxation or calm. Number 16, reduce the use of unnecessary and unrelated detail to keep the focus on one emotion. For example, characters involved in chases don't notice the flowers or the storefronts decorated for Christmas. Stay in the moment and only turn the reader's attention to what's important for this moment and this scene and the characters involved. There are, of course, exceptions to this piece of advice, yet when you're trying to build emotion, don't dilute it or distract the reader with unrelated details. Use your details in other scenes when it's appropriate to introduce them. Do use detail that will heighten emotion. 17. Use setting to influence the reader and deepen his emotional response. Paint your rooms, put sound in your outdoor spaces, add smells to your attic. Imagine how these elements would influence your readers. Dark rooms, dark colors, enclosed spaces, echoing spaces, wide open fields, silence. The living room of a house where someone was murdered. The living room of the house owned by the lead character's enemy. A courtroom, a boardroom, backstage during a concert, backstage 3 hours after the concert goers have all gone home. 18. Use sense details to hook readers in the reality of the scene. What can the character hear and smell? What does a change in sound mean? What does the absence of sound mean for the character and the reader? When a character reaches into a dark hole and feels something brittle, does the reader break out in goosebumps? What if the character felt something soft and silky, something like springing curls? Does the reader's pulse jump? Play with all 5 senses to keep your readers involved, maybe off balance, but always interested in what's coming next. 18. Use each of these methods, not just one. This is paragraph 18. Use each of these methods, not just one, to raise an emotional response in your reader. Touch the reader often, noting that each scene doesn't have to register higher on the emotional meter than the scene before. Though emotions do rise through the climax, the rate of the climb isn't consistent and emotional impact can be variable. Both characters and readers need variation in intensity. Downs are as important as ups. Don't hesitate to mix emotions. A heroine in a suspense thriller can't be frightened all the time. Use humor or lust or exasperation or anger or joy to change the type of tension for her and her reader, and for the reader. Take the reader up and down and then again. Readers like ups and downs, not a flat line or no emotion or zero affect. Keep the reader engaged by making her feel. Stir up your readers. Tap into emotions to give your readers a read that satisfies on all levels. Now it'll be your turn to read this independently. While you're reading, you'll want to make notes on the sides. You'll want to summarize different sections so that when it's time for you to do this part, after reading, you'll be able to look at you can have 3 pieces of advice I plan to use when writing my personal narrative. And also you'll need to make sure that you include the paragraph number. So not only will you write the piece of advice that you have that you're going to use, but you need to record the paragraph number that's written off to the side and circled. You'll need to include. This will need to be done by tomorrow. So everything needs to be here so you'll be ready to go in class tomorrow on Thursday. All right, have a great day.